Welcome back to part two of Sports Card Show interview. This is interview with Peter Packman. It is great to have you guys back. Hope you missed the first part. Go back and watch it because we're not going to talk about that now. Second part, we're going to start by talking about the National. The National is right around the corner, depending on when you watch this video. Last year, you went to the National. I did watch some of your content. Let me ask you, are you going this year?
No.
No. And why not? And tell you that last year. Just tell me, let's talk National, I guess.
So which one? What do you want to know first? Let's start. We can start with this year.
You tell me. You go.
So we're not going to that. So for both of them, there's several different reasons. I'm going to be all the way transparent. I'm not going to act like it's one reason weighing in. You know what I mean? Because I'm a collector at heart too. So there's a lot of feelings and emotions, and also morals and principles in place too when it comes down to it, right? So, Let's start with last year's National. So hopefully we can build it up.
Was that your first one last year?
That was my first National. Our first National. I had been prior to that. I had been to maybe 3 or 4 Dallas card shows because that's where we were going. That was like the first card show to open up. We're in California, and our guy Rez with Hobby Connectors really invited us into that environment and made us feel welcome. You know what I'm saying? So we hopped on a flight. We went out there. He took us to the card shows, showed us what the big card show environment was like. This was like right after and during the pandemic still. So it was the big Dallas was like popping in 3-4 shows. You know what I mean? So prior to that, I had went to card shows here and there, but I'm a toy guy. Like, if you have one hobby, you have several hobbies. So my toy collection, I'm a collector-con, toy con, comic con.
Funkos? Do you do Funko Pops?
Funkos, Legends, Hot Toys, Hot Wheels, Legos.
We'll talk that later. We'll talk that one later.
I do all that. I do everything. I got my shrine is over there. My museum is over there on the other side of the main.
I'm only going to ask this, and don't talk about this on this channel, but are you into the Funko NFTs?
I don't know anything about it.
Dude, it is, in my opinion, the coolest thing going on. I'll give you a 30-second quote, a 30-second commercial. You get these packs in a pack drop. You open the packs up, and if you get the right one, you get a redeemable, an actual Funko will be sent to you. And they limit them to only less than 2,000 or less than 1,000 of these Funko Pops. And if you don't get the redeemable one, you can collect the whole set, and then you get a Freddy Funko redeemable physical pop, right? All of these are limited edition, numbered to a certain number. I think it's the best NFT project because you get something, you collect, you open packs. Here's another cool thing. They limit the purchasing to $60 per transaction. So you don't have whales coming in and buying all the damn packs. I've seen families doing it. I don't want to talk about it later. We'll talk about it off topic. I'll send you a link. I freaking love it. I love
that. Sounds cool though. That sounds like something I can relate to, especially if it's a character that I want, the pop that I want. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. And that's something that like. Yeah. But National. So prior to the National was like card shows and toy shows. But once we were ingraining ourselves in the hobby and we wanted to feel and see it, we said, man, let's go. We wanted to go to National to experience National.
Yeah.
Just wanted to go to as not even as a consumer, because when I go to card shows, I don't go to card shows to buy, because 99% of the time they don't have the cards I want. Yeah. Like my collection is so oddball and weird, and it's nothing around monetary value that there's maybe one table or one vendor, maybe at a show, maybe, and even National, that might have the cards I'm looking for.
I relate to that. I don't go to shows either to buy. I go there to meet people.
Exactly.
That's the number one reason.
But I love looking at it though. It's like toy candy. Don't get me wrong. Like I love looking at it. I'm gonna be honest. It's not like I'm there like, I don't want to be here. But then I also have a short attention span. Like even in the best environment, I'm not gonna last longer than an hour unless there's people engagement or some kind of engagement. Me just walking around looking at stuff, which at some time and people aren't as engaging, is gonna make me want to leave the building. You know what I mean?
I understand,
so we booked our trip to National, and at some point, before we got there, man, Ross Hoff, I forgot his last name. We call him Ross Hoff. He works over at Golden. He actually invited us to Golden dinner. So now we're going to National. Originally, we were going to National because we wanted to experience it. But now we feel like somebody values us and wants us to be a part of, not National, their thing. For whatever reason. We don't know what everybody's intentions are to start, but the way Ross Hoff, he's a great guy. Like even there's nothing, no shade against him. The way he opened up the relationship and followed through. And when we met him, it was the most organic and pure, and the energy exchange was right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So He invited us to one of their exclusive dinners at National, made us feel special being new to the hobby. And it made us feel good as African-Americans being acknowledged in the hobby as adding some type of value to be able to go to this, you know what I'm saying? So we wanted to make sure we were there to not only represent for RPS, but to show other people, look what they did, look at what, to represent and inspire, hopefully, right? So I keep it 100 with you. We walk into, we get to National. So we get to National, and at the same time, we were, prior to National, we were filming some pilot episodes for a TV production, some card show type thing. You know, it's been a host of them going around for the last few years.
And when you say we, this is you and your brothers, right?
Me and my brothers, RPS. I'm all, even when I say I mean we. When I say we, I mean Rip, Pack, and Slab. Yep, Rip, Pack, and Slab. It's me and my brothers. So we were engaged with this production company or whatnot, and they actually were filming other people at National. So they were going to film us at National. So again, this gives us, we didn't make a dime. This production company was trash. They only bought us lunch the first day they filmed us. Like, I'm gonna keep it buck with it. Like, it's not like we were getting paid to be on this show. Well, it was just a pilot. If we were gonna be on the show, they would have to bring the money. Otherwise, they could just keep the pilot stuff they got. You know what I mean? But we agreed to do the pilot because they were cool people and it felt like it made sense. You know what I mean? Leveraging was fair and transparent. So we were like, cool. So they were filming other people up there at the National. Our guy Reza from Hobby Connectors had his own trade night, which is different than any other trade night. He had it in a penthouse suite, invited people. It's like more engaging, DJ, food, it's like a out the lobby type of trade night, like next generation, future type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, so that's something that we wanted to be a part of too. So we made sure we were there and present for that. We walked through the National, met a lot of amazing people, man. Shout out to everybody we met, got to meet people that we had been looking forward to meeting, people we didn't know we were going to meet. That of course was a highlight. Seeing all the cards was a highlight. It wasn't inviting or engaging.
Were you there the whole 5 days, or how many days were you guys there?
We were there from Wednesday to Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, Wednesdays, Thursday. But at the same time, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. When we go to card shows, if a card show is all day, we're literally in there for an hour max. And then we're trying to engage with people that we know in there outside of that. You know what I mean? It's like we don't sell, we don't buy, so we wear different hat at the moment. Not gonna say we never are going to or haven't before, but because we wanted to make sure that our rap and our art, not our rap, our art was taking as art and not as a ploy to sell wax or a ploy to a gimmick to pump and dump one particular thing. Like, no, we're doing this as an art form. We're doing this as love. We're doing this as a passion. We're doing this to inspire that people can bring anything into this space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why. But at some point, we are going to break. Like, that's real soon. We are going to sell and maybe trade. Maybe not at the same level as others do. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. I mean, everybody's got you. Let's not be naive. There's money. Money helps to drive the engine, right? There's got to be something. Just the way you get to that engine. It made me think to myself how, you know what I feel like is lacking in the hobby? I don't know if you remember back in like the 80s and 90s, it had these little fan clubs that you could join. You could write to, like, I don't know, the Star Trek fan club.
Yeah.
And whether they did anything, you felt like you had a voice because the fan club would do something. I don't feel like there's a voice in the hobby that does the best for the hobby. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems like everybody's got their own agenda. And it's not like, I wish there was more leadership. Like, we will all admit there's problems, there's issues. Why don't we come together and solve these problems? You know what I'm saying? Like, the National would be a great place to get together and talk about things like theft, things like counterfeits, things like, you know, registries. It just seems like, you're right. I think your platform or another place will be a good time. I think National is great for what it is. I don't think National should do anything they haven't done out the norm or that they don't want to. If they wanted to do something different, they would have by now. It's been you're right. And that's what I said, they're not going to change. That's what they are.
And that's okay. And that's okay. So we need to create these other spaces and allow them to come in and feel, like you said it, bro. And that's one thing we use in education a lot. And it's not to mislead or misguide, it's to validate. Even if you're not telling me the truth, make me feel like I am loved. Make me feel it. Make me feel it.
Lie to me, baby. Look me in the eyes.
So sweet. Lie to me so sweet. You know
Real
what I'm
quick, do
saying?
you know by any chance Prism God?
That's my
G-A,
guy.
you know
Yeah.
him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you saw he does the promotion down in Atlanta, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
did
he has
on-
his own card show in Atlanta, Culture Card Collision.
So
That's a
you
card
need to
show that
talk
I'll
to
for sure
him.
promote in the market for sure.
So he should regionalize that, and you guys should front that with him. So
Well,
you know what I'm saying? That card and culture show should be in freaking. It should be in the southeast. It should be in the southwest, the northeast. You know what I'm saying? You could pick 6 places in the country, and you could add Canada to that, man.
you know what it's
And
done, those Ziggs? You know what it's done? He's setting the blueprint. He's showing people it
yeah,
can be done. So even if he doesn't do it himself regionally, which I'm pretty sure in the next near future he'll be capable of, just because of the amazing guy he is, he's going to inspire so many others to do it.
well, I'd like to see him
You know
do
what
it
I mean?
before somebody who before big business gets in. And here's what I mean by that. Look,
They can't do it right though. This is the great thing about it, Zig.
that's what I agree.
Everything
Because
that
what
you've
he
been,
did, well, let me just get a
everything,
second. What he did, he blended not just sports cards. It was comics, it was sneakers, it was culture in that area, in a region, and brought that together. And I think that's key. That's next generation. And if he can do that, like I'd love to see something like that in the DC area. I go to the Chantilly show where I am. To me, it's boring. It's okay. Like you said, I can go there for about an hour and get everything I want done there, and then I'm out. There's nothing to compel me to stick around. There's no entertainment coming on. There's no show, no reason we want to, you know what I'm saying? And anyway, since you know him, that's awesome. That is awesome.
It's going to happen. Everything that you said is missing from the hobby that we felt back in the 80s, 90s, and before. Yep. That nostalgia thing. The same way I do my research, you do your research. These people are 300 years. They get paid to be 300 years ahead of the research and take data and determine what we need to try again. Yep. They've already been putting fillers out. If we think we just thought of it, they probably already have. You know what I mean? So. But yeah, like you said, it's important. I know he's inspired us in his own right. Prism God was the first Black guy I seen collecting cards and moving in that space like a boss. You know what I mean? Like somebody.
Let me take a second to hit on that topic. It was funny. I was listening to your topic with Reckless Cards. I love Reckless. Shout out to Reckless.
Shout out Reckless.
Big fan to what they're doing. Yeah. And you guys are talking about race. And I'll be honest, I'm gonna sit here as the dumb white guy. I never think about it.
Yeah.
I need to, because I just don't. I didn't think about women in the hobby either until that became, people bring it to my attention. So I just want to say separately, if I can do anything to help what you're doing, because I know you and Reckless talk about that, let me know. Because as a dumb white guy, I'm not aware of it. And I will say I do have some color in my family. I mean, I'm not a total dumb white guy, but I'm not aware of that. And it's funny we say it. When I saw Prism God, I did think about that later. It wasn't at first, I think I heard of him. And then I saw him like, oh, wow, another Black guy in the hobby,
Yeah.
So it's interesting you mentioned that, man. So if I can do anything to help, I'll say another thing too. I've said this before. There's nobody that I go out to that I encourage to come into the hobby, right? Like I have a lot of friends. They know I do the hobby. I don't go, hey, man, you should get in sports cards. It's not like I'm trying to encourage him, but I'm not trying to discourage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like everybody talks about growing the hobby pie, and I do want it to grow, but I want it to be organic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want just us to be gathering more sheep. Sometimes I feel like guys like, we need more people in the hobby because you just want more people to cheer, where I think of it, I want the hobby to be better. I want it to be healthier. I want it to be organic, right? I want it to grow. Like, I guess for me, I think of it as a father and protecting your children. I don't want my children to be ripped off because he traded his silver prism to some guy because he didn't know it was a silver prism, right? Because he didn't see the prism on the back. It's those little things that drive me crazy. Or the other one that drives me crazy, the damn gold wave. Why the hell did Prism do that? Forever, there'd been golds, had 10 on the back, and then they make the Prism gold wave, and what does that do? Think about the little kid at school who's getting traded the Prism gold wave, comes home to his dad and goes, look, I got a gold wave. Like, son, you get ripped off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's education. Yeah, educate. That's that falls on us. We got to educate. You know what I mean? And still that's going to happen. People are going to get ripped off, especially young kids.
And that's why you got to talk about it. You got to educate.
Back all the time. Yeah.
Let me ask you, so you talk about the National. Tell me about Mint. How is the Mint compared to the National? And would you go to the Mint again? Because I also say Atlantic City is a pain in the butt to get to from California. That's got to be a day and a half to get here. So that had to come into play part 2, right?
Yep. So I'm going to keep it 100 transparent. Even
love
before,
it. Love it.
Yep. After the National, would I go to Mint again? Yes and no. So yes, of course, but there are stipulations. Like I said, we wear different hats than most vendors and people who go to these card shows wear.
Yeah.
In my real life, I'm the dean of students, right? In my real life, Marcus has his professional career. Javed has his own professional career.
This is a hobby to you. Yep.
In our hobby, we are entertainers, we're educators, we're content creators. Our presence and our value needs to be paid for. Like, I'm not going to leave my family and my job where
Yep.
I'm providing to come just stand around for free.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Now, that's when I say monetary. It's not like, and I'm not being stuck up. It's literally like, why would I fly all the way over there to help y'all out for nothing? That makes no sense. I can help y'all out for right here. We make music that helps the hobby out every day from right here, and they don't want to use it. And you expect us to go on a plane? So yes, I'll go to Mint again if the dollars are right and the representation is definitely different and better and more than just RPS. You know what I mean?
I will say, so let me ask you this, from my perspective.
But I love Mint though. Mint was amazing and totally different than National.
Okay, so from my perspective, one thing that I saw was it seemed like most of the people going to the Mint were speakers, were panelists, were influencers.
Yeah.
Like how many, and you probably don't know this, but how many attendees were there? Like if it seemed like there's probably 100 influencers there, were there 1,000 attendees?
I mean, it was definitely healthy, bro. From vendors to it was definitely, because I'm gonna tell, we made diss songs about it. We've been critical about it. We've been honest about it through the whole way and mapped it out the whole way. We made the diss song in the middle of the deal. They still accepted. We still, everything's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it was a healthy environment. It's different than the National though. It's not your typical card show. It's not.
Well, it's fully sponsored by Collectible, right? Collectible is the backing behind the Mint.
And who is Collectible? You know who's Collectible? You know who they are?
I kind of do, but I mean,
Endeavor, IMG.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you know me. I got
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's Endeavor, IMG.
I mean, they have done an amazing amount of investment into the hobby. I mean, they sponsor several big channels. So again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I get a sense of like, if you like, I'm gonna say it. I look at it like Collectible decided to hire some influencers in the hobby, and they're clearly on the payroll making good money, and they decided not to hire Peter Packman.
Well, as far as the payroll, like they hired Rip Pack and Slab for a contract to host. The contract was supposed to be to host and perform. I'll put this out there for people who are confused, because we did do a performance, but that was the improv performance. We grabbed the microphones off the table and we put on a lip syncing performance because they pulled our performance out of the contract. You know what I mean? Well, they didn't pull it. They just didn't fulfill that part of the contract. But you know, it's like I said, the experience was still something amazing. That improv, we still had the opportunity to make the best of any opportunity we had. You know what I mean? So we got paid to host though. We got paid to host and we hosted. So yeah.
You would like to, if Mint's listening real quickly, you would like to go again as a paid supporter, right?
If Mint would like to have us back as entertainers, but also too, at the same time, there has to be a lot more representation of Black, brown women, and intentional too. Like, I feel like they tried, it was a step into it more so than anybody else has, which is commendable, but I want to see that the intent was genuine and pure by now taking it to the next level. You know what I mean? So even if it's not Rip Pack and Slab, I would like to see more. It doesn't have to be us. If somebody else we know about or don't, but
Prism God, right?
Prism God, it should be a whole bunch of people out there. They should be asking for panels and creating stuff around to get that value and insight, so they can, you know what I'm saying, be better and do better. But overall, the show going into it, we had the lowest expectations and we had the greatest time all 3 days.
That's good.
Can't even lie.
That's good. So you're looking, if you had to pick between the two, you would pick Mint over the National for the experience then. Is that fair?
I'm not gonna for what we do specifically, but not to not give people the bad thing.
Okay.
National has an experience you can't get at Mint.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the Super Bowl of cards. I don't know if people have ever been to Comic-Con before, but National ain't nothing like Comic-Con. Let me take that back. Comic-Con kicks National's butt. But it's like the mech. It's amazing though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Mint has its own thing that it thinks. So because we don't buy, sell, or trade at the moment, then going to build relationships and going to network and going to get, you know what I'm saying, to speak. Kind of fit more of what we do than going to National and just standing around looking at cards. While we love cards and we love the people, we're not there to buy, sell, anything. You know what I mean?
Another one just to mention, I don't know if you follow the Beckett Industry Summit.
Yeah, yeah, Beckett. I follow Beckett here
But
and
then you seen the
there.
Industry Summit. The
I'm not.
Industry
I'm not.
Summit used to be good. And the reason I say that was it used to be worth attending because they gave you so much merchandise in the attendance, it made
Yeah.
it worth the trip. Since COVID, I don't know if that's the case or not anymore. I know things have changed and Beckett's definitely slipping, sadly. But
I'm not. I have to learn more about the summit. I've never been to a summit, but I was uneducated or ignorant as to what a summit was. But to my
well,
understanding, a summit is closer to what the Mint was, or Mint
yeah,
is closer to what the summit is, or Mint was trying to whatever it is, a mixture of a car show and the summit. You
yeah.
feel me? But yeah.
Well, the Beckett Summits honestly weren't open as in it wasn't really meant for the general public. It was more for people in the industry, whether you're a dealer, a breaker, somebody who's doing something. That's what they kind of open up to. But
Right.
it's something else to keep in mind. So will you go to the national next year in Chicago? Would that location change it for you? Would that help at all, or you don't know?
I'll say right now, the way things are, if like I'm not. I'll say this: I'm not going. We're not going this year because we're not getting paid to go. It's not even getting paid. It's not even like we want a $10 million. We just want to be able to be there and not be there on our own dime if we're going to be there for something. We're not going to go to buy, sell, and trade. And I'm not just going to go say hi to people.
Hang out,
say hi to
fly across the country.
another show, local show, or somewhere else. You know what I mean? If you want
Dude,
us there, we want to bring value. We want to help. We want to engage. We want to be purposeful and intentional. So this year, because when we were at the Mint after our performance, Panini sent somebody at us and they did everything but buy our plane tickets and lock us in for the national, right?
Really?
And then the communication dropped off strangely, like real strange and peculiar.
They've had turnover there. They've had so much turnover there, man.
They've had turnover, but then also when you understand the hierarchy and how everybody's connected and how the business doesn't want to engage with certain people if this is the narrative that they think is, I understand. I think I know exactly why Panini moved away, but at the same time, like we said, bro, that's an obstacle. You know what I'm saying? You know how easy it is to overcome obstacles? Like that's one thing I want people to leave here with is people who are coming into hobby and maybe they want more for themselves, right? Maybe they want, maybe they don't want to be like the people they see up top, but they want to feel like that, right? They want to feel like they're adding value. They're bringing something. They want to feel like they're giving a whole bunch of people something. Man, you can do it without having to ride these people coattail. Be pure to yourself. Literally collect what you like. Pump. Anybody who shows their card is pumping. So don't feel like pumping is bad. Pump what you love. You're not pumping it to tell people to buy it, right? If you're just saying, man, I love. Look, what's one of my, I haven't collected him in a minute, but I got Adam Packman Jones. I started collecting him, not because his name was Packman, but because he adopted Chris Henry kids. I thought that him adopting his best friend kids and raising them was the dopest thing ever.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah, so after Chris Henry was murdered, he adopted his kids. So I thought that was the dopest thing ever. So that made me want to collect, and I got all the cards I want now. So I can pump that all I want because it's the story that made me feel good. You know what I mean?
I did not know that. I was a Pac-Man fan because he's a Virginia Tech grad and out here in Virginia. So I followed him. I think he was in high school near me as well. But he played, I don't want to quote this, but I think my brother might have actually coached him in high school.
That's dope.
So I just know the name and I know he was at Virginia Tech. It's stories like that. Another guy I love too was Warwick Dunn. Warwick Dunn's whole story.
Yeah, especially what he's doing now and what he's done.
You saw how he bought a house for Deshaun Watson's mom when Deshaun Watson was a baby, and now Deshaun Watson's doing the same thing. Man, that just warms my soul, dude. That is awesome.
And that's why it's important to just plant that seed. You never know who's watching. You never know who's gonna help. You never know who's gonna inspire. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, let me say, I tell you, I was asking these locations. Where is the next time you'll be at a show or something? Where would people come and see you? Would you be at Dallas again? You go to any local shows in your area? And I'll also say this too, if you're ever in the DC area, fly through or whatever, let me know. I'll come out and meet you at any airport. And when I'm in the California area, I'm going to look to catch up with you guys. So I'd love to meet you in person, but where could people run into you guys? Where will you guys be public next time? Do you
honestly, we don't, at the moment, let me think. We don't know. Hopefully at any con or card show in the future who's interested, they'll reach out. We'll work something out and we can make it happen. You know what I mean? Because like I said, other than that, we're going to continue living life as people should. You shouldn't have to be forced to come, like, you know what I'm saying? forced to go to a card show just to do something specific.
Yeah.
The value that we want to bring, if we're not bringing it, we'll be cool right here. We're not just gonna walk around. So honestly, I don't know. What I can say is that soon things are gonna change, man. Like,
Cool.
like if not 2022, by 2023, you'll most likely, these card shows, like I said, these are options. Like the hobby is the hobby, right?
Yeah.
But what people have to understand is the hobby was started by venture capitalists and a whole bunch of other people. That's who funds and all that, right?
Yep.
So when them people get into the hobby, and when you're able to stop meeting with or worrying about the people in the hobby, and you start meeting with the people who fund the hobby, then a lot of things start to change, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna I can't go too much into detail, but things are gonna change. Things are going to change for everybody in the hobby. People, the ecosystems that exist are going to be able to exist at the same way they have been, but there are also going to be more spaces and places of diversity and inclusion where people are going to feel welcome as well too. I know that's for sure. That's for sure. And if other people don't do it, it's your responsibility. This is what you're doing now. It's our responsibility to do it, so our kids can model that instead of modeling us selling cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. There's definitely going to be some major changes. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I bitch sometimes about sports cards and stuff. He goes, well, why do you do it? I'm like, I can't tell you how much I love it. I mean, I really do. Like, there's so many exciting things happening. Like, hate it or love it, what Fanatics is doing. I can't wait to see what the hobby looks like when Fanatics does have everything, because things could be better. Like, I've always been anti-monopoly, and you talked about this, right? It started as monopoly, and it's going through phases. It goes through cycles. I do believe 20 years from now, it's not a monopoly anymore. I think Fanatics spins it off or something like that. But it will be interesting to see the next 5 years, the next 10 years. And like you said too, we're planting seeds, right? You're planting a seed. You might leave the hobby. You might come back 15 years from now and you're look back, go, I remember 2020 and 2021 when the hobby did this. So it's an awesome time, man. It's a fun time to be here.
You got everything we talked about. Fanatics are people they hired, and other organizations who were looking to buy into the hobby the same way Fanatics did. They hired a team to do this same data and research and analyze it the same exact way. Yep. You know what I mean? So they like, yeah, what do we need to do differently that hasn't been done in 150 years? So I believe that whoever it was that was going to take over was going to do things differently. You know, I'm happy that it was Michael Rubin, because outside the hobby, this is somebody, a man that I fell in love with for the man he is, because of, like you said, he grew up saying he didn't know about certain situations in the Black community. It wasn't until he had a relationship with a rapper, Meek Mill, and went to court and see how unjust he was being done, it made him say, hey, how can I use my privileges where I'm at to first let me educate myself on the matter and make sure that I'm not, he literally said, me make sure I'm not, because I'm a businessman, this can be everything for me. I got to make sure I'm making the right choice, right? He checked his morals, he checked his business. He's like, no, this is the right thing to do. There is a group of people being done unjust in this specific market, and people I know can make a difference in it, so we're gonna make a difference. Long before he was in the hobby, this was a man that I admired for his humility. Like I said, not only did I used to go to school thinking every kid went with a lunchbox, right? Even when I was older, I was still ignorant, bro. I used to work in Cedar Park, Texas, right outside of Austin. And there was this YMCA called Cedar Park YMCA. And I was the director of the child care center. So this is infant and toddlers all the way up to our teen center. I'm rocking babies. I'm doing all that. Yeah. But I'm coming from my environment where I'm socially conditioned, right? And the things I've seen. So I'm thinking that every kid here doesn't need the same things that I've been giving to the kids in the communities I serve here in the hood. You know what I mean? Yep. They have money. This YMCA I worked at had a campsite, 7 lakes, not swimming pools, lakes. Yeah. Okay, it was like Camp Anawana. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it had like the child care facility was like a 24-hour fitness itself, let alone the YMCA. So I'm like, man, everybody here has. And then, bro, it was maybe a few months in, I'd be with kids and we'd have this thing called Saturday night out or family night out, where parents can drop their kids off and then go on a date. Yeah. And then parents will come back drunk. And I'd be like, I recognize this behavior from somewhere. That means there's neglect. There may be abuse. That means even though these kids have money, they experience the same shit, bro. Humble yourself. Yeah. You've been looking at these kids all wrong, bro. You were wrong. So when people hear me speak, it speaks from a place of being wrong a lot, you know what I'm saying, and having to learn. I don't, you know what I mean? I've been there. I've been ignorant. It exists inside of all of us. If it's in the world, it's in all of us. We have to recognize whether we choose to act on it or not. You know what I mean? If we
That's
can
from your uncle quoted that because your uncle said, I think it was it negativity? Negativity's in the world, it's in all of us because we are what's in the world, right?
It's in the world, it's in us, period. The good, bad, ugly, if it's in the world, we're fully capable of fully. So we can't look down on somebody because they did something we didn't like. Don't mean we got to have dinner with them and invite them to the house, but find out why. Use empathy. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have just been a hi or a hello that a check, or like you said, if we would have met somewhere different, we might not have liked each other, or we might have liked other people, we might have liked each other. You know what I'm saying? So just taking the time to understand that just that itself is something that I try to remember, and I fail at it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect.
You make some good points. I'll say I'm running out a little time on my my free Zoom here, so I want you to wrap up by telling me where do you, I know you can't tell too much, you said there's stuff coming, but where do you see you guys 12 months, 2 years, 5 years from now in the hobby and what you're doing with music and your content?
I just see us more ingrained in the hobby, and not just us. I see us as in people like you. People like us, people who look like us, people who don't look like us. We just want there to be a safe place where people can create and add value and not be looked down on. Not to say that that's what the hobby's narrative is, but that exists. And we need more places to help balance that out. So if we can be a vehicle or a bridge to bring people in and show them, hey, this is how you can understand the lingo also, or you don't have to go to every card show. You can collect from home. You don't have to show your collection. You don't have to sell. You can sell. You can be the greatest vendor or buyer seller. Like to normalize every part of the hobby and people trying to do something right. That's hopefully we can model that. And then I like I said, I see us, and not only just us, our community and people like you and people that have the same vision individually and collectively. I see us on stages together, whether it's at national or at our shows that one of us or collectively we brought together. You know what I mean? I see a lot more inclusion and a lot more intention on where we want. If we want the hobby to go somewhere, we're not going to expect any of these companies to do it. We're going to model it, and the 10 or 100 people that love it will love it, and we'll be okay with that.
Awesome. Peter, listen, I'm first of all, I want to pass my thanks on to your brother and your cousin. I really appreciate that. Also, pass my respect to your parents, because you've got phenomenal parents and phenomenal family. I'm going to do live shows in the future. I'd love to have you come back on and do live, take questions from the audience. I'm looking forward to dropping this video in the future, man. I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. This has been awesome. I've learned a lot. If I can ever learn more, if you see anything, please, like I've said, you know, we got a dialogue. Reach out anytime. I really
do, man. Thank you, Zig.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here. Again, thanks for being at the Sports Card Show. I'll have more interviews coming, guys.